Okay, it's time to commit. 2024 is the year for prioritizing yourself. Begin your new smile journey with Byte, and you could start seeing results in just 2 to 3 weeks. Just order your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95 at Byte.com. Byte clear liners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer financing options, accept eligible insurance, and you could pay with your HSA, FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs, also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
When you want to have fun and have scratchers to scratch, there's a playful way you can do just that. Scratch with the key or acrylic nail. Scratch with the quill from a porcupine tail. Use a belt buckle from your friend Lamar. Or scratch with your pick while you play guitar. You can scratch in a bunch of different playful ways. Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room? It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system. If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served. Hi, I'm Detective Dave. I'm Detective Dan. Together, we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood. So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished. From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th. We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
And welcome back to Scarred for Life, the podcast where we open up old wounds by looking back at the films that scared us as kids. I'm Terry.
And I'm Mary Beth.
And each episode, our special guest will bring with them a movie that traumatized them as a child.
This week, our guest is Sara Clements. She is a freelance writer and editor for Next Best Picture. She's based in Canada, and she writes for everywhere, it feels like. Everywhere about everything, and she's really talented. Sara, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yay!
Yay! I'm so excited. I feel like you write a lot of stuff about, like, a lot of horror stuff that I really like, and we kind of align with the kind of stuff we like to write about, so I'm excited to talk to you today.
And I feel
especially
like I've gotten more into horror since I've met you, because I feel like before you, I never watched that much horror. And then I was like, you know what? This shit looks cool. Let me check it out. And now I'm like, wow, I've been missing all of this cinema.
Mary Beth is a gateway drug to horror.
You know, honestly, I don't mind that.
Well, no. Let's get everyone into horror.
I know. Seriously.
So you're an editor for, is it Next Best Picture? Is that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What's that site all about?
Oh, it's just like it's a film, we review movies, but they're really concentrated on award season. They break down, who do we think's going to win Best Actress and all that stuff, which is pretty cool. I'm not that knowledgeable about all that, but I like editing everyone's work. It's fun. Yeah.
Editing is pretty cool because, like, you get to read everyone else's work and help them find their voice, and
and it feels like it helps you a lot as a writer too.
Yeah, it's always been my thought that you gotta just keep reading everything because it really helps you, find things that work, things that don't, and really kind of grow your voice. So I can imagine that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you also are a freelancer, do a lot of freelance work. Cool. What do you mostly write about?
Just film reviews mostly.
Yeah.
I've been branching into TV more, but
cool.
Unfortunately, I feel like I never have time to watch TV shows these days because there's like so many movies, and I'm like,
yeah. And TV is such a commitment.
I know, and all the streaming services, I don't even want to talk about it.
And I feel like it's hard with TV is because, like, well, you had to commitment, but then I feel like a lot of people get ahead, like, I don't know how, but they get screeners for, like, Watchmen. Like, I feel like not everyone, but a lot of people I follow on Twitter, like, got screeners for Watchmen from HBO, and, like, I want screeners for Watchmen from HBO. How do I get those? And then it's hard for me, like, it's hard to review it because you have to watch it every week, and I feel like where these reviews come out so quickly because they have access. And it's like, obviously, we're very lucky that we get screeners in general. Like,
yeah.
I'm so glad to get screeners. But, like, I just want to know, like, what is the secret key to getting HBO screeners or, like, Netflix screeners?
And I feel like...
So I can watch them ahead of time.
And I feel like it's, like, a big competition to, like, get everything out quickly. And I'm like, can I just consume this and, like, write about it slowly? Instead of being like, I need to get it out right at the embargo. You know what I mean?
I know. That is exactly. I feel like I've seen a lot of people talk about that recently, about having a hard time actually, like, watching something and forming an opinion on it because there's, like, that pressure to get it out right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I felt the same way with, like, because Joe Lipset,
I think. That feels right.
Yeah, I should know how to say his last name. Sorry, Joe. We were recapping American Horror Story 1984 this season, and it's so hard to, like, you want to be able to get something out quick, but you also want to be able to put thought into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And especially if you don't have, like, screeners, like we were just watching it that Wednesday night that it aired, and then just sort of, like, scrambling to get it done.
Yeah,
it's kind of rough, but yeah. So getting the screeners is really helpful, and in fact, we did get screeners for an Apple TV show that's starting next week that we're recording.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited to do that and actually have time to consume it and then think about
and, like,
it.
think about it. Yeah. I feel like that's another hard thing about film festivals. Like, when you're there.
Oh my God, I can imagine.
Is, like, seeing everything and expecting to, again, having to turn stuff around so quickly, which is why, like, when you can cover them remotely, it's so much easier to me to cover. Like, that obviously is a very privileged thing to say, that I've been able to experience both of those things, and have been lucky enough to do that. But, like, I do have a very deep appreciation for remote coverage of film festivals.
Same. Mm-hmm. Or, like, the smaller ones.
Yes. Well, and, like, Sarah, I feel like you covered a lot of those smaller festivals, and I know you're in Edmonton, right? So you're...
I mean, we have a festival. Like, I'm lucky that we have one in my city, and we got, like, Parasite and Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and I cried, and I was like, wow, this is the best thing ever. Mm-hmm. So it's, like, it's cool that I get the TIFF stuff, but at the same time, I want to, like, experience TIFF, but I understand, you're seeing, like, how many movies in a day, and you have to, like, write about them all, and I'm like, how do you even process all that information? You know what I mean?
You figure it out. You kind of just, like, go on a weird autopilot, and you're just like, I gotta do it, so, like, we're just gonna make it happen.
I'm just not gonna sleep or eat. It's fine.
Yeah, that's kind of it.
I can't, like, I've only been to one physical festival, and it was last year's Telluride, and that was a weekend. And, like,
that's
that
nice.
was exhausting as it was, but, like, I didn't get any movies reviewed that weekend. It was, like, weeks after, but, I mean, I'm in a different place now than I was then, but I just can't imagine going to, like TIFF or, like, Fantastic Fest, where it's, like, this long, multiple movies every day, just constant, kind of a slog in some ways.
Yeah, for sure. They're like the way that some people were able to turn things out within an hour at TIFF is like wild. But apparently, so like I learned that, I hope I can like say this, that people would like write reviews ahead of time in a way, like kind of include a lot of like the synopsis.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
like
okay.
basic information, and kind of have like something formulated before they see the movie. So that way they can kind of, saying plug in sounds so like kind of formulaic and robotic, but basically plug in like particular paragraphs and then go. So apparently that works for people. I didn't do that, which maybe I should have, but like,
Yeah, I've honestly
works for
never
some
thought
people.
about doing that before.
I know, right? I was like, you can't do that, but it's like, well, actually, you sort of can, I guess.
Well, I mean, especially if you're just doing like the synopsis, you can like because I mean that kind of sometimes takes a while of like figuring out who's who and
That's true.
doing all that kind of like you could get like that whole portion done. I would think that's kind of
I
a
guess
smart
I
idea. I
feel
never
like-
really thought about that.
I guess for me, like with the synopsis, it feels so weird to me to like write it without having seen it, because I feel like when I write my plot synopsis, it helps me get like myself together and like kind of digest what I saw and make sure like I remember it. But maybe that's just like my weird writing process, where like the synopsis is a very important part of writing for me. I don't know. That sounds weird, but I don't know.
No, I'm actually the same way. Like I know some people when they write their reviews, their synopsis is sort of like one part, and then they go into the analysis where it's like,
Yeah.
I like to when I'm writing about the synopsis, I like to think that I'm kind of digging into the analysis as well as going through. You know?
That is how you write, Terry, and I like that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
The check's in the mail. It won't be for very much, but there's a check in the mail.
Enough for one order of chicken wings for dinner.
Hell yeah. Chicken wings are the best.
Anyway, now that we've talked about festivals, Terry,
Yeah.
what have you been watching? Is there anything you'd like to talk about this week?
Well, so I was going through of what I've watched recently, and I did. We're recording this, before Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving time is busy, and there's like a bunch of trips coming up, so we're trying to like get all this set up for December so that we're giving you listeners some good stuff. But I just recently watched The Fair. Have either of you seen it?
I got,
is that the one?
I think I got an email about that one.
It's the
Is
new
it the
Dread.
taxi?
Yes.
The taxi movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really good.
Hell yeah. Okay.
It's not scary at all. I wouldn't even consider it really a horror show outside of like the fact that it's about this taxi cab driver who it's filmed, at least in the beginning, in like kind of like a sepia tone black and white monochrome type color.
Okay.
And it feels like very noirish. He's driving down this like deserted highway in like this desert, and there's just nothing but cactus and dirt everywhere around him, and it's just him on this lonely stretch of the road listening to the radio, and like the radio announcers talking about he kind of flips through the stations, and they're talking about aliens and time travel, and they're talking about men's need to conquer women, and they're like he's just flipping through the channels, and he gets a call from the dispatch that he's picking up this fair, and she is in the middle of nowhere as well, and she gets in the back of the car, she tells him where she's going, they drive, and they start having this little conversation that feels very surprisingly familiar. Like there's like even though at this point you think that they've never known each other, there's like a familiarity to it.
Okay.
And then they get to this point where like there's a storm ahead and there's a flash of light and she vanishes.
Whoa.
And he's like, what's going on? And he calls dispatch and is like, oh, well, just come on home. So he hits the reset on the fare, and all of a sudden he's back at the beginning.
Oh, what?
Oh, wow.
And he's listening to things again, and he picks up the girl again. And the conversation is similar, but there's changes to it. Like, in one point, she's asking him about something, and next point, he's bringing up naturally himself. And then it goes on like this again, and then there's an accident, like something makes him swerve his car, and they touch, and the whole movie turns into color. And she's like, don't forget me, or remember me next time. And then it kind of goes from there. And that's like in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Oh my God.
Damn. Okay.
We need to watch this immediately. Because Kayla emailed it to me, and I was like, okay, but Kayla doesn't steer me wrong, but
it's not perfect. It's a little long. I mean, it's not long, but the story is a little overdone. I think.
Well, and
I think
that's the
if
worst
it had been
part,
like
a movie that feels longer than it actually is.
Yeah, I think that if it had been like when my review, I wrote that it's basically like the best Twilight Zone episode never made. It feels kind of like a Twilight Zone episode. It goes into some really wild places when you start to figure out what's the connection between the two of them. But like, I kind of wish that it had been an hour or, a 40-minute thing as opposed to an hour and a half movie.
Oh, okay.
But like, it's really good. It was very romantic. It tugged at my heartstrings. It made me a little teary-eyed at the end. It's really, I thought it was really well done. And the script is really tight. Cool. I really like the script, other than I think it was a little too long. But that's the big thing I've been watching.
Cool.
What about you, Mary
I need to watch that.
I recommend it.
Yeah. So I have 2 monthly columns at Nightmare on Film Street, and one of them is called Defining Mumblegore, where I talk about movies that are in the Mumblegore genre, which is basically like low budget indie horror. So I was doing research for this month's column, and like, actually, yeah, I guess by the time this goes up, the column will already be out. But I watched the movie Darling.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, I've heard of that.
Black and white. Yes, so I had never seen it, and I had heard things about it.
You're talking the sequel to The Woman, right?
No, sorry.
Oh.
So that's Darlin. Sorry, this is Darling with a G.
Okay.
It's from 2017, and it's about Laura Ashley Carter, isn't it? And it's black and white in an apartment.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. I know. I was looking for it yesterday, and it actually was hard to find because of the movie Darlin.
Yeah.
But it's this black and white. It's black and white. It's shot in black and white, and it's this like, it's got this like very Rosemary's Baby feel to it. It's in a massive, I think, New York City apartment that's supposedly haunted, and it's like super trippy, and one of those movies that really kind of leans into style over substance. Like, it's trying to be that way. It's not necessarily really trying to answer your questions. But I perceived it as a really fascinating movie about cycles of abuse and, like, manipulating people with PTSD, which is, like, a very intensely deep reading of a movie that, like, maybe people wouldn't think that, but it's actually really fascinating and really well done. And Laura Ashley Carter's performance is like absolutely phenomenal. She's been in movies like Jugface. She was in Arctic. Yes. She's been in she was actually in Darlin, the other movie. Like, she's been in it's the weirdest thing. But I really enjoyed it. It's streaming on Shudder right now. And it's only an hour and 15 minutes long.
Oh, love that.
It's short. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it just cuts right to the action. It doesn't have a lot of like weird, moody buildup. It's very much like gets straight into it, and it's actually a really good companion film to what we're talking about today, which we won't get there yet. But it's a very fascinating kind of companion piece to the movie Sarah brought, which I can talk about a little bit later. But Sarah, is there anything that you have been watching that you want to talk about?
Well, since it's Noirvember, I've been watching more noir this month, and I haven't really watched any horror, I don't think, actually, but I just watched Fritz Lang's The Big Heat this week, and I've never seen it before, and it's really good. And I don't know if you guys had seen it, but or I don't know if you guys have watched a lot of noirs, but I feel like a lot of them
I am woefully uneducated in noir.
I feel like a lot of them are like basically the same. Like it's just kind of that kind of genre, you know?
Yeah.
But this one had like a really touching like family dynamic in it where like the detective character isn't like, you know, just a loner and like just, you know, goes after the femme fatale kind of thing, or like a sleazy guy who like cheats on his wife and stuff. This one, he had a really touching family dynamic, and he had a daughter, and I ended up crying, and I was like, what is going on? This is noir. Like, it was really good.
So what's it kind of about?
It is about a detective who hold on, I would have to look at the synopsis again to better explain it, because I suck at this kind of stuff.
No worries.
But he gets mixed up with a bunch of, like, a gang, kind of. He kind of tries to take down a crime syndicate, and then they also try and take him down, and I can't really say more because, like, people die, and it would be a spoiler, even though it came out, like, a million years ago. But, like, you know, so it's just that kind of thing. Yeah. There's a lot of some good action in it as well, which I was surprised. So
what is your favorite noir movie?
Oh, man. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Mildred Pierce.
I knew it. Like, I knew you were going to say that.
Because that's like my Twitter like handle, kind of. Like my Twitter handle is, I'm going to plug myself. It's Mildred's Fierce, which was like my old Tumblr account name. And I was trying everything. I was like, Mildred Pierce is taken. So then I was like, what if I try Mildred Fierce, which is like the Carol Burnett sketch. And that was taken. So I just put an S in the middle. So it's Mildred's Fierce now. But yeah, and Joan Crawford is my bitch. And it's a really good movie.
Joan Crawford, my bitch.
Yes.
I mean, as she should be. Awesome. So, okay, we've talked about what we've been watching recently, but now let's talk about the movie you've brought today, Sarah. What are we talking about?
The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which ruined my fucking life.
Oh my god. I can't wait to hear why, because I have stories about this movie too, so I'm very excited to hear why it fucked up your life.
So I'm like one of those people who like can't really remember, like, you know, I don't know if you guys remember the first movie you saw in theaters, but I can't. So I can't definitively say if this is the first horror I've ever seen, but I feel like it is. And that's probably why it messed me up so much. Because, like, you know, you sort of think, oh, horrors are fake. And then I go into this one, it's like based on a true story. And I'm like, and I'm like 11. So I don't know shit about demons and stuff. So I'm like going into this, and she's like getting possessed, and I'm like, what is going on? This stuff happens. And I literally could not sleep with like in the dark for ages. And it got to the point where every single night, like we were dragging my mattress from my bedroom to my mom's so I could sleep on the floor. Like it went on for a year because I could not sleep by myself. And it like got so bad where like I had to go see a psychologist. And it was just horrible. I know. And like, I don't know if the psychologist actually helped me, honestly. I think it was just something I had to grow out of. But yeah, this movie ruined my life. That is the tea. And the like, someone asked me, I kind of had to write a blurb about the movie that scarred me the most earlier in October, and write about like the scene in particular. And really like the one that stood out for me was the barn scene. Where the priest is like, sorry,
Sarah. 1 second. Let's get to do a synopsis of the movie really quick.
Okay, sorry.
No, don't apologize at all. I love talking about it, but let's just, in case anyone is not familiar with the film, we'll tell you what it's about. So, The Exorcism of Emily Rose is about Father Moore, who is played by Tom Wilkinson, who has been put on trial for negligent homicide after he performed an exorcism on Emily Rose, played by Jennifer Carpenter. The intent was to be a smart movie about whether demonic possession really exists, but sometimes feels like your freshman religion teacher and philosophy teacher bickering over a few drinks. I think Terry might have written this description.
I did.
Ultimately, it's a movie about Campbell Scott's religious prosecutor versus Laura Linney's agnostic defender, with facts and alternate facts on trial and a jury that wants it both ways.
Dun, dun,
Yes,
dun.
I did write that.
I love it. So Sarah, what was the scene that you said scared you the most when you saw this movie?
Well, I'm not sure if it was the scene that scared me the most, but it was the scene that I could remember the best, so I assume it probably was. And this was before I had rewatched it. So it was the barn scene. I don't know if this is her first exorcism, but it's like the big one. And like Jennifer Carpenter's character like runs into the barn, and then Father Moore is like, "Tell me your name." And she's like, "There's 6 of us." And then she says all the demon names. And I could remember the names like vividly. And I was like, why do I remember this? And then so I want to just say this real quick. It's like I rewatched it, right? And I was like, I want to see how I feel viewing this now that as an adult. And I was like so disappointed because it's one of those movies that you watch as you're older and you're like, really? This scared me? Like, it's not scary. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I'm the only one that's still kind of freaked out by it.
Wait, you're still freaked out by it?
I have this... Okay.
Okay, it's a Mary Beth story now. Tell me.
Sorry, Sarah. But like, okay, possession movies get under my skin.
Oh, yeah.
I think it might be perhaps I'm like, because I'm like, was raised Catholic, but I'm no longer Catholic, but was like raised with all that, and I have like a very healthy fear of demons. I know it's wild, I know it's kind of crazy, but like, I have a healthy fear of that shit. So like, this movie still kind of freaks me out. Like, it doesn't freak me out as much as it did when I was a kid. I definitely have a lot of a lot more problems with it now, and it like the courtroom and stuff is so boring. But like, when she gets woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like that used to happen to me when I was a kid. So like that shit always freaks me out. Like when I lived in Chicago last year, there was like a period of time where I was waking up at 3:23 every single night, and that shit is creepy. And nothing happened, but it was still like I would wake up and it would be exactly that time. It was like a month. It was so weird and so freaky. I guess that's why that stuff gets under my skin a little bit. Like it's just, it feels weird, and then especially because it's based on a true story. Like I was watching the trailer today on my way to work just to refresh myself, and I kept looking over my shoulder. So I don't know why this movie still scares the shit out of me.
I'm like oddly, I mean, I shouldn't be, but I'm kind of intrigued by demons in a way. And like, I watch a lot of Ghost Adventures episodes. So,
my God.
I know that like if I had to be in a room with a demon, I'd like shit my pants. So it's like, I'm not like, I'm not like Shane from, what is it, BuzzFeed Unsolved, and he's like, "Hey there, demons, it's me, ya boy." Like, I could never do that. I would be like running.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think because my dad was like really freaked out by demons, it like instilled like a genetic fear. I don't know why. Like, my dad has like a very weird, like potentially irrational fear of demons that I don't actually understand that part. Like, it's very strange. I think because he is still Catholic, it's like ingrained in his psyche. But he like, I grew up with him like, this actually sounds really awful saying it out loud and not just thinking it, about like my dad talking about demons a lot and like freaking me out about them as a child. That sounds actually not normal now that it's like coming out of my mouth. Anyway.
So Sarah, you were 11, you said, when you saw this, right?
Yes.
And how old were you, Mary Beth, when you saw it? Do you think?
I can't remember. I just remember being really scared of the trailers when I was younger, and then I saw it. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it at home, but like I don't remember that much about it from when I saw it when I was younger.
Yeah, gotcha. I didn't see it in theaters either, obviously, because it was like rated R. And my mom would be like, "Hell no!" But so I don't even know how. I know I watched it that year though. So it was probably like, I don't know, maybe I like LimeWired it, or like I went to Blockbuster or something. Some real throwbacks.
LimeWire and Blockbuster.
Yeah.
So I saw it in theaters.
Oh shit.
I was 24. Again, I'm old. But I remember at the time being like really into it because like I'm not religious. I've never been religious.
Okay.
But like I find myself interested in these types of movies. I remember when I was growing up or not growing up, but I think it was like in 1999 that Stigmata came out. And
I've never actually seen that movie.
Oh, it's not good, but I really loved it at the time because I was like, oh, it's so deep. It's trying to say something, and like all that kind of pretentious like high school. Like I think I was 18 when I saw it because I think it came out in 99. But yeah, so like, but this movie was the first time in like a long time that a big studio released possession and exorcism movie was released in the theaters. Because I think around the same time maybe the Exorcist prequel came out, but like before those two movies and Stigmata, I mean, you really didn't see that much. I mean, there was the kind of like offshoot ghost possession or that kind of thing, but like demonic possession, exorcism, sort of like in the vein of The Exorcist. I mean, there's like a dearth of them for a long time. And so I remember this one kind of took like a cultural significance and it made like a ton of money at the time. And I remember being kind of scared by it at the time. But yeah, looking back on it now, I have so many problems with it.
I know. I think I
was
gave it like
frustrated thinking about it today.
I think I gave it like 2.5 stars on Letterboxd or something. I mean, it's not the best movie, but honestly, I feel like Jennifer Carpenter should have like been nominated for something. But
okay,
we know the Oscars
I have a lot of feelings about this.
Hates like horror, so
I have a lot of feelings about this because I love Jennifer Carpenter. She was in Quarantine. She was the news reporter in Quarantine, which is one of my all-time favorite found footage movies. But apparently she was like auditioned for this and she like had the most intense physical audition. Like they couldn't not cast her. They were like, this is who is, because I think this was her first movie and no one knew who she was. And apparently like her audition was so like feral that they were like, yep, this is her. And she's so good in this movie, but I feel like she doesn't get the chance to really shine because she's really just kind of existing in like the memories and stories of other people. And like while Jennifer Carpenter kills it with these like guttural shrieks, I just like wish she was a little bit more than just guttural shrieks and like weird body bending.
Oh, I get that, yeah.
It's that's one thing that I realized watching this time is that when I in my memory of watching, because I think this is the first time I've seen it since theaters, and my memory of seeing in the theater was that she had a bigger part, but she isn't really in this a whole lot.
That's what I thought too, and like I said, I totally forgot about like the weird courtroom drama aspect, like how the whole thing is a courtroom drama, and like it made me feel frustrated, even like. Because possession movies have this problem, I feel, of like it's not actually about the young girl who is possessed. It's about like the man or the person that's trying to like help her, and she just kind of becomes like background. Yeah. And that happens in this movie too. It's like, I mean, I know Laura Linney, the lawyer, is like the main character, but it really just becomes about the priest and how he needs to tell her story and he needs to share her story, and it's like. I don't know if that just frustrates me because I feel like possession movies do that so often, like using women as a backdrop for like male savior narratives.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much par for the course with most most possession movies. It seems like I'm thinking back, even like Stigmata was the same way. Well, that's why like movies like so I mentioned Darling because Darling is a possession movie, but it's like from her perspective, and it's like. Another movie that kind of does that is The Black Coat's Daughter. And, like, there's these movies about like women being possessed, but it's from their perspective, so it feels more like there's more agency involved in those movies and in movies like this, where it's, like, they're telling her story and, like, it's all memories. It's not actually, like, what she thinks happened to her, but it's what other people perceived happened to her. And it's, like... I mean, I know it's nothing like that's not a new thing, but it frustrated me after like seeing other movies that are such better examples of how to tell like a woman's story in horror. Right. Sorry, I just have a lot of feelings about that. No, I completely agree. So the thing that I noticed this time that I wrote so many notes about watching was like, so Scott Derrickson, he's become a big thing now because he's, directed Sinister, and then he's gone on to do Doctor Strange. So he's become big time, and this was like because he did, I think before this he did one of the Hellraiser sequels.
Oh, that's right, he did.
Like 5 maybe? I don't know.
I'm looking at it right now. He was on Shockwaves recently talking about this. He did Hellraiser Inferno. Yes. But like the thing that so he stated in a DVD commentary that he had written this movie with Paul Harris Boardman because Scott Derrickson is a believer and Paul was a skeptic, and so he was kind of hoping it would lend like an air of mystery about whether it was in fact supernatural or not. But watching it this time, I kind of saw their characters I kind of saw like Scott is basically Laura Linney's character, and Paul, the other screenwriter, is kind of Campbell Scott's character, being like the skeptic for it, and then the judge is basically the movie. And so it's kind of obvious that this falls into the supernatural camp. I mean, like, we're meant to root for, you mentioned Laura Linney's the kind of the main character, we're meant to root for her journey from being a skeptical agnostic to like a less skeptical mystic. Yeah.
Is that what he calls her, like mysticism or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
And like it kind of bothered me how much the judge was like anti-prosecutor. Like any single time Laura Linney was like objection, she's like sustained, and and anytime like Campbell Scott was trying to bring up stuff like how silly it was that this was happening, I'm gonna allow it. Like it kind of frustrated me how one-sided the story I thought personally was.
Yeah, that's actually I had not thought about that at all. But I guess like now that I look back on it, like the prosecutor really is painted as like so antagonistic. Like obviously he's the bad guy, or like in scare quotes like the bad guy. Yeah.
Like I found myself rolling my eyes a lot with like when they had like first of all, I love that I don't know how to pronounce her name. Shore Agadashlu was in it. She's like
yes.
She was the anthropologist, I think, when she's up on the stage, and she's like, and I love her. She's in The Expanse, and she was in the House of Sand and Fog, I think is what it's called.
I think so. Yeah.
I love her, and I forgot she was in this.
I'm not sure what I've seen her in before, but she has like that signature voice where you're like, oh, yes, I know this person.
Oh, yeah, she has a very deep, gravelly voice.
I know. It's really...
Have you guys seen The Expanse? The television show?
I am obsessed with The Expanse.
You what?
I'm obsessed with The Expanse.
I love it. And she's so good in it.
She's amazing. I always comment on how she's like the most well-dressed person in the galaxy.
Oh, she so is.
Yeah.
She can cut a bitch too.
She really can. She's a badass, and like she's like a very good case of like older women can play badass characters, and like you don't have to stereotype them or like typecast them. But yeah, she's badass.
But yeah, when she's up there and like she's talking about all this kind of holistic stuff and like, and he's just like, "Are we really listening to this right now? This is preposterous." And she's like, "I'm gonna allow it." The judge is just, I don't know.
Well, and so that kind of leads me to talk about like, so we recently recorded an episode with Josh Pond about The Entity, and this movie reminded me a lot of that in terms of like the female body becoming like a site for psychologists, psychiatrists to like project stuff onto.
Yes.
And not anybody, it's like more than that, like because they talk about her having epilepsy, and like she's talked about in like terms of diagnoses and medications, and again like The Exorcist, it falls into the whole like women are hysterical and must be like treated as such and be given lots of medications, and talked about like a science experiment. And, like, I feel like that is a thing that possession movies also do quite a bit, is, like, look at women as experiments or, like, a case to be, like, written about.
Have there been any possession movies where there's been a man who's the one possessed?
There's one I can think of.
Wait, there's, like, a scene in one of the Conjuring movies where they briefly talk about some guy who was possessed, but he's, like, not even really a main character in the movie. I forget which one that is. I just remember that. But it was like one of the cases that they worked on. But yeah, I was just wondering.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that today. Because I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, and I was trying to think of examples of male possession movies, but the only one I can think of is Beelzebub.
I was just going to say, didn't Beelzebub have a male possession?
And that came out this year. Beelzebub is on Shudder if you want to watch it, but that has a possession scene, like a possession scene with a man. But that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. I mean, like, if people... what?
No, Exorcist 3, right?
I haven't
Isn't the
seen
serial
that.
killer? I think that, like, the serial killer in that, I think he's possessed. It's been so long since I've seen that movie, but...
Yeah. I guess the Omen, technically, but he's not really possessed, though. Like, isn't he just...
He's just
the devil?
Child of Satan. Just the child of Satan.
He's just a child
He's
of
just
Satan.
a kid. That's how they are. Kidding.
It's all for you,
No, it's
Damien.
true.
So what do you think, looking back on it now, Sarah, with this rewatch? I know you kind of talked a little bit about it, but how do you feel it's aged since you were 11?
I mean, like I said, as the film itself, I mean, I don't know. I was just, when you guys were talking about the courtroom stuff, I feel like that kind of treatment towards Laura Linney's character probably wouldn't happen in films today. I feel like my mom watches a lot of courtroom stuff, and the judge is never like, bitch, shut up, and like leaves the man talk the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I feel like in that way, I feel like it hasn't aged very well. But but personally, it's just it's not as scary to me as it used to be.
Yes. Yeah.
Man, that trailer though, where she's like hopping up and down and going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fuck that.
That scene,
like fuck that so hard.
That scene is like literally the one scene I remember from seeing it back in the theater, and that scene is still super effective with her jumping up and down on her knees and
and she like says it in like different languages too. I'm like, honey.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, that's actually a good transition for us to maybe talk about the actual case that the story is based on, because we wanted to talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, so are you guys familiar with the case of Annalise Michel?
Yes.
At all?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did a little bit of like preliminary research about her, or like more in-depth research about her before recording today.
Yeah, and I think her story and I mean that's what this is based off of. It's based off of a book about the exorcism of Annalise Michel that was written by I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was a consultant on this film as well. And learning more about her story kind of made me pissed off about
Oh really? Why?
This movie. Yeah, because some of the facts. She died in 1976 from emaciation, malnutrition, and starvation. And they had performed 67 exorcisms sessions over the course of 10 months.
It's
some of them lasting up to 4 hours each. And when they did the autopsy, it reported that the cause of death was malnutrition and dehydration from being semi-starved for almost a year. She weighed 68 pounds when she died.
Holy shit.
She suffered from broken knees due to continuous genuflections, which are the kneeing in prayer that they have to do. And like the damn priest in this movie, the court found the two Roman Catholic priests guilty and sentenced them to 6 months in jail, which was reduced to 3 years of probation. So they basically got off scot-free from this case.
Did her parents get convicted too?
They did.
Okay,
yes.
that's what I thought. Okay, because because in this movie they said like, oh, the parents, we're not gonna convict the parents, but then
They've
I remember
suffered
Annalise
enough.
Michel, they did, Annalise Michel, they did prosecute the parent.
But so like this happened in 1976, and like I kind of wonder if, because that's around the same. When did The Exorcist come out? Didn't that come out around in the 70s?
It came out in the 70s for sure.
Yeah, 73.
Okay.
So like I kind of wonder if like I don't know, some of like.
Oh, are you a hella skeptic, Terry?
Oh my God, am I a hella skeptic?
Oh my God, I know
Me,
where this
I
is going.
swallow it hook, line, and sinker. I'm like, she was possessed by demons.
I just kind of get this feeling that, like, you know, there was that whole, like, we're moving into the era of satanic panic, and I realize this was in Germany, but like, I don't know. I just feel like this is when things are, because when you listen to, and I'm going to share with you guys like one of the audio clips from the Exorcism, and like in one of them she's like talking about the bitch ass and like just using language that just feels like it was taken strictly from The Exorcist. But here's the clip. I just shared it with you guys if you want to quickly listen to a brief portion of it.
Her throat, honey.
I hate it so much. It makes me so uncomfortable.
I'm like getting sweaty. It's too much.
I feel that. I feel like really uncomfortable, and I feel like I get like the creepy crawlies up my back.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's pretty creepy. I'm not gonna lie, but like, I don't know. I just have a hard time believing it.
I texted Terry this morning because this morning I was watching the BuzzFeed Unsolved about this because I was commuting and like needed something to distract me from my commute. And I texted Terry, I'm like, it's 8 in the morning and I'm watching and I'm listening to the possession tapes of Annalise Michelle. This is a really good way to fuck up my entire day. It was so creepy, and like it's like broad daylight. It's sunny and nice out, but meanwhile I'm like shitting my pants on the bus, like with my headphones in, like, what am I doing and why am I doing this? But then I don't know who the Unsolved people are, but the skeptic guy was like, she's just naming every bad person. Cain, Judas, Hitler. And I was like, okay, now that you say it like that, it's funny. But like, me watching it, I'm like, yep, those are all the people inside of her. Yep, that's exactly what's happening.
It's just,
No doubt
I
in my
want to
mind.
believe that it's fake because I don't want that shit to happen. Like, what if I wake up
That's a
one
very
morning and I'm possessed? Like, you never know. And it's like,
You never know.
it just makes no sense. She was like just a normal, regular Catholic girl, and then one day she woke up and now she has like 20 demons inside her, and she's like growling, and she's like I just don't understand how someone could fake that if it is fake. You know what I mean?
Well, like, I don't even know if it's fake. I mean, she was prescribed drugs for treatment of psychoses and schizophrenia.
I mean, yeah, she could have had a
this is
mental illness for
Annalise.
sure, but...
And like, I think that's one thing that just kind of bugs me so much about the idea of demonic possession, is that a lot of times I feel that it becomes a crutch for people to not seek medical help.
I definitely agree with that.
And I mean, I just like, they're coming. So she lives in this small town in Bavaria, West Germany, and her family is incredibly religious. And so I just feel like the power of what's the word I'm looking for? Just like
Persuasion?
Yes, the power of persuasion and the power of like that coming from that thought that's just sort of permeating everything you do is going to potentially color how you see the world, and in good and bad ways. But like, I don't know, it just makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was thinking that too when I was watching the movie. I was like, she's just like miserable and screaming, and like she seems very like, I don't know, sick or whatever, but like it is very upsetting. Like even just seeing that on screen, like I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, she could have definitely had like a mental illness, and I'm not really super Catholic or anything, and it's it's not the 70s anymore, but I feel like parents probably would have thought of the demon thing first before something medical. I'm not sure, but
yeah, I mean it's a sticky conversation for sure. Because there's so many possibilities for it. It just makes me really, really sad to think that, like, some of what was probably, in my opinion, probably plaguing her could have been taken care of if they had continued to, like, do medical intervention instead of just kind of taking her off of it and considering that she was quote unquote damned and would rot in hell. Like, I don't know. Well,
that's my question. I feel like all of these movies are, like, involve people who are very religious, but, like, what about the people who aren't? Like, I don't know. It just, like you said, Terry, like, the people who, a lot of these films are like, you're Catholic when you get possessed, so it's like, are you already halfway there when you're Catholic? I don't know. Yeah. That just made me think about that, because I feel like I don't really ever see possession movies where someone who is not Catholic gets possessed.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Stigmata, but I think that the character in that, I don't think she was religious, and so that's why like everyone was like, oh, why is this non-Catholic person getting Stigmata? And then, of course, by the end of the movie, she's ultimately a believer, which is basically how these movies are structured.
Yeah.
Again, I don't mean to, like, offend any religious people or Catholics with that. It just seems to be the way the movies are structured, for better or for worse.
For sure. There was a movie I saw recently that was a possession movie, but it wasn't Catholicism. And I can't remember what it was.
Oh, didn't you see the one with the Jewish?
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you.
I don't remember what it was called.
I said thank you and then I forgot. The Vigil. There it is.
The Vigil. Yes.
That was really good. I wrote a review on that one and talked about how it was, like, refreshing to see a possession movie and not involve God, like the Catholic version of God, and see it from like another religious, like a different religion's perspective, and that was really good. Thank you for reminding me of that. I was like, I don't know why I'm forgetting this. I just saw it recently.
Well, I think you and I talked about this a little bit because we also were talking about The Wailing, about being like, different cultures' look of on possession and exorcism.
The Wailing
which is always so interesting.
Good. Sarah's muted. I was going to ask her if she's seen The Wailing.
I'm just putting The Vigil on my watch list real quick.
Okay.
I really want to see it when it comes out.
I hope it gets
its festival run.
I hope it gets distribution soon, because I think it's really good. I think it's pretty creepy. It's got jump scares in it, but, like, I think they're earned and, like, good jump scares.
Jump scares don't bother me.
Yeah, I don't mind a good jump scare.
I think they're a good way of breaking tension.
Yeah. Sarah, what do you think of jump scares?
Yeah, I agree. But sometimes when there's too much, I'm like, okay, really?
I think there's, like, an easy balance between, like, It Chapter 2 and and some other movies where it's like,
It's like, can we get some good dialogue instead, please?
Right.
Like, actual story happening instead of just, like, loud music cues and, like, slamming doors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think jump scares are kind of like, it's like a joke, right? You have to have the setup and the punchline, and then, and if it's just that constant punchline, it gets to be obnoxious. But yeah, so, like, I'm a fan for a good, well-timed jump scare, for sure.
So, what are your favorite possession movies, both of you? Since we're talking about how this one, like, isn't a very good possession movie, and revisiting it, like, what is your favorite, do you think?
Does The Conjuring count?
I would count it.
Yeah, I really love The Conjuring. I think that was one of the first horror movies I saw, like, last year, where I was really getting into the genre. I suck, and I still haven't seen Possession, so I need to get on
my
that.
God, you really do.
That movie was going to be that's my favorite. Possession from 1981 is just so fucking good.
It's so good. I think that is that or The Exorcist. I know that's, like, very
yes, for sure,
cookie cutter to say The Exorcist, but, like, that movie still scares the shit out of me.
I don't like it.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
You don't like
What's
Exorcist?
the tea, Terry?
Why?
No, I don't. I just I have a hard time. I don't know. I have a hard time with demonic possession movies for the most part.
Okay.
Because they kind of come across as silly to me.
All right, I respect your
been.
opinion, but it's so funny because they scare the shit out of me.
I know, and I realize that I'm in the minority. Most people think that The Exorcist is one of the scariest movies ever, and I completely, that's cool. I don't know. It just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it for me. It never has. I remember seeing it as a kid. I don't remember how old I was. I might have been like early teenager, and just kind of laughing at it. I feel horrible for saying that.
No,
I know it's a lot of people's like favorite movie.
You're gonna get so much shit on Twitter, I bet.
I know I am. I'm gonna get canceled. This is finally gonna be the thing that cancels me.
Well, I also feel like it probably helps that you weren't raised Catholic.
Right. I mean, that's exactly it. For me, it was like kind of like this alien thing because my family was raised Methodist, but like we never went to church. I can count on 2 fingers the amount of times I've been in a church for something that wasn't like a wedding or a funeral or something like that. Yeah. So like it's not something that has ever really terrified me to my core at all.
Yeah, and it is weird because like I was raised Catholic, but like I stopped doing church I think when I turned like 10 or something. I got like my first communion and then I just stopped going to church. But I guess like I said with my dad, his family is like, we're like Irish Catholic too. So we're like Catholic as fuck. So like being a kind of like drenched is the weird word to say, but like part of that, like for part of my childhood, I think put some kind of, I have like residual like trauma from religion, and it makes me scared of demons.
No, that makes sense. I think.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I went to Catholic schools. I mean, all like from elementary all the way to high school, and I went to church and I did all my sacraments and stuff. But honestly, like maybe my memory's just bad, but I don't remember anyone talking about demons. Maybe that's why I'm so okay with the movies.
My dad might just be crazy. Like that's like a very real possibility that my father is just a fucking nut.
He just drained that into you.
Like that's
Mary
probably
Beth,
that's probably demons. I know. Like regularly he'd be like, I don't fuck with demons. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Where did that even come up? It's like,
I swear to God, Mary Beth, if you start going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to freak out.
God. I'm going to text you in the middle of the night, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I hate it. I'm saying it and freaking myself out.
We're all going to wake up at like 3 a.m. after this and be like, oh my God. Shit.
Stop.
If we do, I'm canceling everything. It's done.
We're starting over, everyone.
I'm just kidding. Belial, Cain, Nero, and Judas.
Don't say it. Hitler. No, don't say their names. They come. They get summoned that way. I'm telling you, it's such a weird, irrational fear I have. Like, anyway, everyone's going to listen to this and think I'm a fucking, like I'm just, like, sitting around scared of demons all the time.
I mean, I know that it pretty much decides how you're going to, like, live your life. It's just like, okay, what's the chance of me getting possessed?
That's why I work with animals, because they're so pure.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of which, y'all need to go find Mary Beth's tweet about cats.
Yes, I saw that.
You're probably not going to be able to find it in, like, I think you should just pin it. You should just pin it, Mary Beth.
I
should.
Just
keep that.
That's actually
because, like, it's so fucking funny. I was dying of laughter because listeners, there's the new Cats trailer dropped this week.
A body horror.
Oh my God. It's the most horrifying thing I've seen all year. I'm pretty sure that trailer.
Taylor Swift's cat has titties. And Idris Elba's cat is like fucking terrifying.
She also has hair on her knuckles. Which I guess she's a cat.
Her knuckles
or
her nipples?
I thought you were going to say nipples.
Well, her nipples are hairy, but no, like on her knuckles. Like there's the scene where she's holding the catnip thing, and there's literally like hair just sort of pouring down over her fingers. It's so weird.
I thought you were saying her nipples, and I was like, Terry, you can say nipples. It's okay.
Can I say nipples on this podcast?
You can say any word but nipples on this podcast. I guess like, and like the human faces with like the human nose for some reason is also really terrifying. Okay, we're talking about something else, but I know, but like I watched that trailer 20 times when I was making that video, and it's just like burned into my retinas.
The things we do for art, right?
I know. Oh, Terry was saying, I made a video. I work at an animal shelter, so I made a video for our social media channels recreating the Cats trailer with our adoptable cats.
And they're so adorable. I hope they all get adopted.
Me too. They probably will.
So adorable.
They probably will.
Did you like let your coworkers know in advance what you were doing, or you're just kind of like, don't mind me?
Oh yeah, no, I told them. I told them, and then I had like review process with my boss, and she basically like, this is hilarious. But like, because like my job is social media for them, so I have so much footage on my phone already of filming cats that I was just piecing together what I already had into something.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I went over to the shelter and was like, hey guys, I'm just like filming for this thing I'm doing. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, that sounds normal. So, that's my job.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't lie. It was pretty fun.
Oh, man.
Anyway. I'm sorry, I keep laughing. I was like, oh,
my knowledge of possession movies is not that good, so...
Well...
I'll have to leave and watch Possession.
Possession? Okay. We were talking about
Yes.
Possession, because Possession's amazing with the young Sam Neill.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It's so weird. But like
It really
in a
is.
beautiful way. It's like it's not what I was expecting when I watched it. Like I didn't know what to expect, but what I saw was not anything I'd ever expected.
I don't know if anyone can really understand what you're going to get when you watch Possession.
There's no way
the
to
first
describe it.
No, except that Isabella. What? No, God, what's her name? I
can't tell you because I don't think I know how to pronounce it.
It's like Isabel Adjani?
Isabel Adjani?
Yeah, that sounds
I'm so
correct.
sorry.
She is so fucking good in the movie. I mean, it's like we talk about Jennifer Carpenter in this, and like she's good, but man, Isabel takes it to like a whole other level of just committing to this very physical moment of possession that's just like terrifying to watch.
It's so terrifying. I mean, it's so funny how that movie has become a meme on film Twitter.
Yeah,
I know. I've used the subway scene as like a reaction for stuff like all the time. I'm like, I don't know what the context is, but she's screaming, and I'm like, yes, same, honey.
Yes, same
mood. But it's so funny because like you watch that scene and you're like, this isn't like funny at all. Like this isn't really intense. But then the memes are so funny, but it's like in the moment you're like, this is not something we should laugh at.
It has a kind of forbidden quality to it. It's like, I don't know if I should be seeing this. I mean, it feels like sorry. No, go ahead.
It feels like pornographic.
It does. And there's like all of the like the liquid and like the milk.
It's
and
so
just,
wet.
like, everything's pouring everywhere. It's so...
I don't know what y'all are talking about, but I'm like sweating.
Sarah's like, I'm ready to go. Sarah's like, I'm so ready. She's like, I can't wait to watch this movie. I'm watching it right now. What you talk about?
I hope you can find it in Canada for streaming or something, because like I know it's here in the States. You have to like buy a really expensive Blu-ray to watch it. I don't
go on the illegal websites, Terry. It's fine.
I got it on eBay, like a weird version from Greece that works, but it was $9. But it
was
took
$9?
3 weeks. It took 3 weeks to get to me because it was in another country.
I had to buy like there's like a Mondo Vision something or another copy that was like $60
I know. I bought mine before that came out, but even if it did, I was in grad school and I did not have any money, right. So I was like $9 weird copy from Greece is like the way to go for me.
Criterion,
Sarah,
when?
Where
is it?
Okay. You said what you said, and it's correct. Like, when's the Criterion? But,
right.
Sarah, you said you are not really familiar with possession films. Have you seen The Taking of Deborah Logan? You should see that one. That one's really good. I really like that one.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
I really like The Taking of Deborah Logan.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
That is one that you should check out.
Have you seen that?
Me? No, I haven't.
Sarah hasn't.
No.
Yeah, it's so good. It's a really good found footage film too.
Yeah. Trying to think of other ones. Anyway, guys, listeners, recommend Sarah some possession movies to watch.
Spam me with the possession.
Spam her. Cool.
All right. Well, thank you, Sarah, for joining us to talk about The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Where can our listeners find you, and do you have anything upcoming that you want to plug for those sites that you're working with?
You can all find me on Twitter at Mildred Spheres. I don't really have anything to plug, but I would just like to say that I'm very upset. This is nothing horror related, but I always said that like Portrait of a Lady on Fire comes out December 6th, and it got pushed back to Valentine's Day, so I'm mad.
No, I want to see that.
Valentine's Day? Come on.
Because I was going to plug my review, and I'm like, well, no one's going to see it now, so.
Oh.
But everyone needs to see that movie when it comes out.
I know, yeah.
I really want to see it. I haven't seen it yet.
Lesbian cinema.
Hell yeah. Give it to me.
I try to
so
plug the
good.
lesbians at every podcast I go to, so.
I appreciate that.
As you should.
I appreciate that. The Lesbian Agenda, brought to you by Sarah Clements.
Yes.
Anyway, the Lesbian Agenda. So you've heard from us, but listeners, we want to hear from you. What was your experience of the Exorcism of Emily Rose? Were you scared like me, or not at all, like Terry and Sarah now? Send us an email at
I'm sorry, I got the giggles.
What?
I have the giggles. I'm sorry.
Terry, stop. No, I'm going to get the giggles.
I'm sorry.
Send
This is real life, listeners.
Sarah, we're never like... I lie, yes we are. Send us an email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com, and we might feature you in an upcoming episode. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. I'm at MB McAndrews.
And I'm at Gaily Dreadful.
And, of course, tag us at Scarred Podcast if you ever want to talk to us, talk to the podcast on Twitter.
And please don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe.
Thanks to everyone for listening this week. Thanks to Steve Barnold for our artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for our badass theme song. Thanks for listening again, and stay creepy.
And until next time...
Won't somebody please think of the children? Won't somebody please think of the children? Somebody please think of the children!
As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs, also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room? It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system. If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served. Hi, I'm Detective Dave. I'm Detective Dan. Together we have decades of experience in local law enforcement. a profession that we think is often misunderstood. So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished. From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th. We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.